Hello everyone and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today we're going to do part 3 of painting the Porta Nigra from Magna Roma Deluxe edition from Archona Games. And if you watched part 1 and part 2, feel free, if you didn't, just feel free to check them out as well. But this is part 3 where we're doing the final highlighting touches. If you're there any comments or you feel that the sound is not alright or you feel that you can't see, please let me know in the comments. It's my first video, so I'm trying to learn as I go. So the first thing we're going to do after we actually applied the shade on the miniature is actually going to put some touches on the roof, because right now we put some shade on the roof. It looks a little bit too rough, so I've actually applied a 50-50 mix of Citadel's base Mephiston red and Citadel's layer Wild Rider red, and about 50-50 ratio mixed in with a little bit of water. And I'm applying it across the entire surface of the red parts here, taking quite good care not to touch the stonework, or what you call the masonry. And as you can see here, it actually highlights quite a bit compared to the original color. I'm using a fairly old paintbrush for this, but any paintbrush of size 2 or 3, even possibly 4 would be quite all right for this one as well. And I've also put the model on Citadel Colors paintbrush holder, like model holder, and attached it with a little bit of blue tack, which works really well. And the trick here is not to overload the paintbrush with so much paint, but keep it on a fairly good limit. As you can also see here, I don't know if you can see that, you can see that the brickwork actually shines through quite well. Don't forget to do the back sides. And now for the second roof top. And of course you can put in some more paint on the brush, of course, when it runs out. Oh, sorry if I missed the camera here a little bit. As I said, I'm quite new at this. Hoping to learn as I go. Of course, any comments are very much appreciated. You can only learn from your mistakes, right? And now for the back sides. You can see here we missed a little bit of white before, so it was shining through. Now we have the chance to correct it. And over here as well. And as you can see, I'm also putting on almost immediately a second layer to make sure it stays on the miniature, smoothing out any possible rough edges. And of course, if you're looking for painting supplies, you're most likely to find them at your friendly local art dealer supply. I prefer synthetic brushes because I personally have a preference towards not hurting animals as much as I can. So, but those of you who want to use natural brushes, of course, are free to do so. That's just a preference of mine. And they tend to be a little bit cheaper, but they also tend not to last as long as natural brushes, or those made from animal hair. And as you can see, it is coming along quite fine. We still want that kind of like dark, not too bright look on the miniature. Something like that would be a good tabletop version of the roof of Porta Nigra, which can be found in modern Trier today. It's not just a classic monument from like the Roman days that are ruins. This actually, it's in fairly good shape for being a 2,000 year, almost 2,000 year stone structure. It was built around 170 AD. No one knows exactly when it was finished. But it served as the northern city gate to the city of Trier, and at the time it was called Augusta Treviorum, after the Treverium tribe that the Romans defeated. And a few hundred years later, it had an impressive population of over 100,000 Roman citizens and others. So with that little historical detail, we're right now going to do something about the main part of the masonry here, and I'm going to apply something called a little bit of Terminatus stone from Citadel's dry brush range. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at an old broken off a brush, and I'm going to soak it with quite a lot of this paint, and as you can see, it's quite thick. It's kind of like comes off as well. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a regular kitchen towel, wipe most of the brush off, the paint off the brush, and when that is done, I can even test it right now. That's a little bit too much, so I want just the right amount. There you go. And then I'm going to do something called a dry brush. It means that I'm soaking and taking off most of the paint from the brush, but still I'm going to apply it fairly evenly in a light manner, such as like this. And what I want to do is I want to touch the edges, like something that stands out here. I'm going to do that a little bit more later. And it will also serve to smooth out any place where it's been pooling in the recesses and it's not really looking too good. And you can do it on the sides as well, perhaps. And this dry brushing is a really good technique to use. It can also be used to apply any weathering or sometimes battle damage, depending on what model you're using. And we can use a little bit over there. With that done, now it looks a little bit better. I'm going to also now apply an entirely optional layer of black wash. Now I finally found my Citadel non-oil. I can still use this Vallejo's or Game Wash black wash, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it a bit of a shake here, and once I've done that, I'm going to open it. I'm going to put up some small, tiny highlights of non-oil, making sure that I'm not keeping just a small amount of wash on the brush. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do what we call a selectional wash. So I'm going to put it underneath each kind of like wooden, or not wooden, but stone beam here to make sure that it really pops on the table. And it's very, very subtle, as you can see, but it will definitely make sure that the model stands out a little bit more on, oops, there you go. Sometimes you get stuck in the way. No, not really that much to do. You can do that on the front, or you can do that on the side, or apply it across the miniature if you like. Correcting that mistake there. And it gives a little bit more definition and a little bit more shading across the miniature. Doing it here on the side, putting it in a little bit more wash. We can see if we can do that from this one. Yes, we can. And keep in mind that Porta Nigra means the black gate, because you can see that today if you visit modern day Trier, that it is fairly blackened, and not just from pollution, but after a while it turned into, the sandstone turned quite black. But I want to keep the original look of the black gate as much as possible as it looked in the Roman days, because this game, Magna Roma, is set in the Roman days, and I want to see, this is my artist impression of what it might have looked like if it had just been built and we had visited it in the Roman days. You can apply a second layer of this as well at your discretion. Like I said, this is entirely optional. Personally, I think it looks a little bit better after this one. As you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but we can see that the edges pop out a little bit more now after this application of black wash. And this technique can be used on other models as well if you really want to highlight things using black wash or black shade. Also will make the model look, I can also put a little bit of black wash on the front of the panels, making sure that it still gets a little bit of a darkened look, as it might have appeared in the late Roman days, looking at maybe 4th or 5th century AD. Right, I'm not really particular into, you can do the top part here as well if you really want to, but the sides here doesn't really show much on camera, the inner sides or inner courtyard, so I'm not really going to be bothered by it, not even with any highlights at all. Now, after each time you have used the brush, I would strongly recommend you to clean the brush in a little bit of water and dab it on a piece of kitchen towel. The final highlight that we're going to do is we're going to put in some citadels, no sorry, Vallejos, natural steel, and that highlight is going to be for, looks like this, that highlight is going to be for the gate and the portcullis. And the portcullis little bit like this, make sure that it pops. You can actually keep it like this if you want to keep the portcullis in a grimy old look. But I want to make sure that it looks nice. As you can see, it's quite grimy as well, as it already is. Go. And there you have it. If you want to, and if you plan on playing the miniature quite a bit, you can apply something called art coat. And art coat seals the paint in. And when you apply it, make sure that everything is dry. You mix art coat with 50-50 water, 50% art coat and 50% water. Looks like this, a little bit odd art coat, Citadel art coat as technical paint. And it's make sure that you can actually use the model over and over again. I'm not going to do it right now, but I would recommend that you put 50% art coat to 50% water and apply it liberally across the entire model, especially on the areas where you feel that you will actually going to be touching the model, such as these two towers, and it will help preserve the paint on the model for a long time. Now, with that said done, I hope you enjoyed this video of Magna Roma's Porta Nigra. I will be returning to Porta Nigra. No, I'll be returning to Magna Roma for some more models at a later stage. If you like this video, please click the like button, like button right below this video. Click the bell icon so you don't miss any videos, and furthermore, also please leave any comments or suggestions in the comment box below. Until next time, happy painting, and put some paint on those models. Thank you very much.